Yo, what is up, everyone? Back at it. Today is the 4th of July. I thought, what better way to celebrate than to go over the best in the U.S. I did this not too long ago. I was a little bit behind on the first quarter of the year, but second quarter just ended. Uh, we saw a lot of big events, like we had Patchwork, there was MomoCon, CEO, Level Up Expo. You had all the people going to Kaguribi and Kowloon. In Japan, a ton of American players traveled, which was really cool to see. Uh, and there was a lot of craziness. I think that the first quarter of the year usually starts out with like Genesis and then like a couple extras. Like Genesis is the big one. Besides that, you don't have too much going on. But once you start to get into like the May to June, like boom, 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 and also Level Up Expo was surprisingly stacked with a lot of crazy upsets there. So a lot of cool stuff. I'll go ahead and get into it. I'm going to do another tier list. And also, I will try my best to have a top 50 ranking. It's really hard. There's a lot of people that are so close. And it's like, okay, do you value a really good win versus consistency? It's tough every time. So I tried my best. Please, no hate if you disagree. That's totally fine. And I'm not quite going by like algorithmic methods. So there might not be a ton of consistency with Lumarank and all that, but we'll just see, cross that bridge when we get there. All right, C tier. This is like the about top 40 or so. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check the count. But yeah, I mean a bunch of good players in here. Mr. E, fresh off a Cola win at Patchwork. Uh, but not super consistent. Like played a lot of good players, but didn't get that many good wins up in the Northeast of America. Um, Chase did all right. You got the Nesses here; they're always doing pretty good. Indothea has been doing pretty well in North Carolina, but nothing super consistent. Anarchy doing well. Hyper Kirby got a Beast Mode Paul win, but also just has some losses there. Smub, MDVA GOAT right there. Not quite GOAT, but I love rooting for Smub. He got a candle win, which is good. WebJP got some wins, but sometimes playing Sheik, you just die. And Karu, Belmont player that got top 8 at CEO, I believe. I know there was a big thing about that. A few other players here and there that kind of just snuck on. There's some variety in this tier. I didn't want to do like 6 or 7 tiers. I thought it was overkill. But like some players got really close to going up. Some players is like I might have been a little generous. But either way, they're putting themselves out there, making a splash, all that kind of stuff. Just not quite enough to be compared to this next tier, which I have a lot of players. So I'll actually go from the back to the front just to kind of bring it up. Ice Knight. I had Ice Knight kind of, I at least included him last time, but I was surprised. Cosmos, Omega, Atada 3 times, Ludo, Karu, Loaf. That's pretty good. I think had some not great losses. I believe Midwest and is usually like one of the higher seeds, and so it's gotten upset here and there. Uh, Icon. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. DeBuzz win. 4 Louis Money wins. I'm pretty sure those might be like smaller tournaments, but still good. Pharaoh Free K Flock has a Zenodo win, which doesn't mean as much as it used to. That's still pretty good. Also not super consistent. Ludo had a Zachary win, which you don't see those very often. 2 JDV wins, MFA, Dark Wizzy. Had a lot of losses though, so kind of lower down. Osh9. Uh, you know, Me Brawler is not loved by many people, but the amount of wins he got was pretty good. Mutace, Beast Mode Paul, Mr. E, Skeleton, Atomic, Fawn, Shu. Those are solid wins. Uh, kind of, I think, benefited from a DQ at Patchwork. I remember seeing them in that bracket, and it was like, what are they doing up there? But the wins they got this quarter were pretty good. Vendetta, no stranger to this kind of stuff. Mudace, Cola, Captain Cito, Danny, Hyper Kirby, and Chag. Which, solid. I feel like Vendetta just kind of like sneaks in there. I think Jazzo is kind of the main Georgia fighting game player people are noticing. Got fireworks in the background. Shoutouts to America. Skinny the Pooh. Now this is a infamous player, partially due to tag, but also due to their upset factor. I'm pretty sure. I forget which Mario beat Akala. I'm pretty sure it was. Let me double check. Sorry, this is not very professional. But let's see. It was what, Level Up Expo? Let me look this up. Don't want to mix things up. There's a lot of data to go through, so let me just. But yeah, Skinny the Pooh. I remember, like, there's just a bunch of random Mario's that just like get good results here and there. I'm pretty sure Skinny was the one. Was it Skinny or Dominator? I forget. But okay, yeah, Karama and Skinny the Pooh both beat Akala at Level Up Expo. That's what I thought it was. But yeah, that was really random. Not a ton of good results outside of that, but dang, if you get an Akala win, that's pretty good. Now, one of the silliest tags that we have is Ploopy. I believe that's the Diary with a Wimpy Kid reference there, shoutouts. But has some solid wins. Lima, Jazzo, Zai, Myron, PK Chris, Gil Hugh, Karu, Death Spade, etc. Pretty solid there. Not quite. Like, I'd say that this is pretty similar to like the one Akala win when you have a bunch of wins and consistency overall. I could see, like, that's the thing. It's hard. Skinny the Pooh could be the top of this tier, even up one if you value it that much. Yeah, Akala is really, really good. I would probably consider an Akala win higher than a Spargo win right now. But like, they're pretty similar, and that's not the only thing. It's not just a competition of who can get the best win and that's it. You have to look at the entire data. Next, familiar from another video, Beastly has been like top 10 in the world in Rivals 2, but also doing really well in Ultimate. This is kind of considered, I wouldn't say side game, because obviously Ultimate came out before Rivals 2, but more notable for what is going on in Rivals 2, but doing really well in Ultimate. Let me double check that. Yeah, the other Diddy Kongs are showing up as well. He's not the only one. Let's see. I have a ton of data to go through. It is a lot. Here we go. Shattuck, Lima, Louis Money, Big Boss, Apollo Kage, Manny, Anarchy, Yonpi, Rarchior, I believe the European Sora / Greninja. That's really good. That's really, really solid. So had another pretty good run at Patchwork. That was the main one I watched, which fresh on my mind some of this stuff. But even outside of that, did pretty well. MFA, another Olimar player. I mentioned Myron earlier. Not quite enough to be on this list, but there are some other Olimars as well. MFA got wins on MK Leo, Cola, Louis Money, MK Big Boss, Mr. E, Atreus, and Chag. Pretty solid. Seems to be really good against Palutena. But in sorties, Palutena and sorties, you put them in MFA's range, he'll do pretty good. But hey, props. And I mentioned earlier Jazzo. Um, did a little bit better. I think overall this year hasn't been quite as good for Jazzo, just in terms of like he had a really good summit and stuff. But did do pretty good. Beat Riddles, Kome, Omega. What else? I think I forgot to. Like I noticed it later, but didn't he get a Shuton win? Shuton. Yeah. Beat Shuton, then lost to Shiny Mark right after, which can't complain about that. Shiny Mark has so much potential. Beat Riddles right after that to get 13th. That's very good. Didn't do amazing outside of that. Like I mentioned, had a couple other good wins. Like Riddles at that event, Kome, Omega, WebJP. Like did all right, but that Shuton win. I think people sleep on Shuton. He's like consistently top 10. So that's a really good win. Kiyarash, one of the most infamous players in terms of um, online persona. Sometimes people say he's the worst person to ever make a major top 8. Regardless, he got there. And on the way, got wins against Gluto, Shiny Mark, Dabuz, Monte, and Ludo. I mean, you can't argue that. Gluto is a really, really good win. I think Gluto is making such a strong case for being like top 10, top 5, like really, really good. But Kiyarash beat him. And Shiny Mark, Dabuz, Monty. Like, and those players doing better helps those wins look better. Um, attended a bunch, I believe SoCal. Um, so not quite enough to go higher, but that's some solid wins. Rivers. This is a bit of a throwback. Rivers, more notable pre-COVID with some results, but did pretty good. Went to Japan, also competing in the Northeast. I believe mostly tri-state. 2 Dabuz wins: Umeki, Yonpi, Navy, Chag, Free K Flock, and Web JP. That's pretty good. That is pretty solid. Another Diddy on the list. Debatable what kind of the order is, but I mean, 2 Dabuz wins and Umeki is very solid. That's a good way to start off. Shattuck. I really like Shattuck, and I think didn't he only enter Genesis and like didn't do that well? Something like that. I think most notably had that one loss to, was it Frontier? The unseeded Smashmate, really good Kazuya. I'm not gonna count that against him that much. That made his placement much harder to be good because he had some bad RNG and then didn't play well enough to win. Like that happens. Um, but still did pretty good outside of that. Didn't have the best patchwork, but just going through the data, it was like that's not bad. Did really well outside of America, like at least against players outside of America. Kreba Soleil, Tarek, Waka, Kurofune twice, Gil Yu. Those are pretty good wins. Also, Skinny the Pooh, Death Spade, Beastly, Guy, Free K Flock, J-Jaw, Ave, Frostbite. Got a bunch of wins there. So I think that, I mean, Crave Soleil is kind of an inconsistent player. That's still really good. Tarek got a few Japanese wins, even though got some losers so early. That's pretty good. I think obviously people know that Shattuck is like potentially worldwide top 10 if playing at peak. Had that really good Genesis run a little bit ago. Not this past Genesis, but I believe the year before. So not really where Shattuck could be, but that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you're going to be a little lower than what you want, and that's okay. Now, Free K Flock. I think 0 to 9 ZTU, or ZTN, that's it. Kind of a random player to be on the list initially last quarter. I believe had the Shiny Mark win and I was like, okay, like I like Zelda. I think Zelda's cool, but how much is that able to be replicated? I mean, got a decent amount of good wins. Zomba, Louis Money, Candle, Mr. E twice, PK Chris, Zai, Ploopy, Smub, Brujo, Ling, Quid, Loaf, Endothea, Yeast, Gagai, Rivers, Ice Knight. That's a lot of wins. That's not just okay. Got a random win against someone good and then faded into obscurity. Like that's keeping consistent. Probably got seated higher due to that result, but made the most of it and enough to be, I think, the higher end of B tier. I mean, that Zomba win is good. He's Zomba's pretty consistent. Yeah, he's gonna drop some stuff, especially if he enters more, but that's good. And got a bunch of solid wins outside of that. Pharaoh making a really strong case um, for at least best American Yoshi. Yoshidora hasn't been attending as much. I know there's two more. What is it? Meme and Fui? I'm not sure. There's a lot of good Japanese, but at least on this side of the Prime Meridian. Excuse me. The Western Hemisphere. Pharaoh is looking very, very strong. Got some good wins. I think people remember his Cat Clash run most, but that was in the first. But got a win on Zomba and Shattuck, and was very consistent. So I could see maybe going down. That Shattuck win maybe doesn't count as much anymore, but still did pretty well overall. Good stuff, Pharaoh. Candle. MFA a little bit quieter in terms of, I think, not quite attending as much. Mainly stayed in the, I believe, Northeast. But Candle went all over and got a lot of good wins, but had some inconsistency here and there. Beat Lima, Mudace, Omega, Beastly, Futari, Niae, and then some local MDVA people. Did lose to Smub in that MDVA tournament, but still did very well overall. A Mudace win, you don't get those, and a Lima win. I think that Lima was really, really strong. Not quite as good this year as last year, but still a really good win. And probably best American Alma right now. So, yeah. Cosmos. People like to tease that he's a choker and stuff like that, but he has a Sparkle win. He has a Sparkle win, and that's just like, okay, like as long as you're not just like, you know, going unconscious during your sets. If you get a Sparkle win, you're probably going to be considered to be pretty good. Not that much outside of that. Alan Dis, the Snake, Now and Toru, Mr. E, Chag, Sinji, Chone, Lemon. Like outside of the Spargo win, it's not incredible, but you got a Spargo win, so that's good. And added enough to it where I think that's pretty solid. Next, Monty. Was A tier last time. I don't think quite replicated that success, but still did really well. The Game & Watches are out to play. People were like, oh, it's just Mia, but no, it's not just Mia. You got to watch out for Game & Watch. Got a Spargo win, Big D. Those are both solid wins. Similar. I think that a Big D win is very good. It's kind of hard because Big D hasn't been trialing quite as much, but that's still really good. Karama, mentioned earlier, one of the two Marios that got we got 3 Marios on this page. That's cool. Got an Akola, Akala, how you want to say it? Win at Level Up Expo. That's really good. Got some MK Leo wins in Big Boss, Louis Money, at locals. That's solid. I mean, Leo has been doing very well, even though he's fallen off since being, the GOAT of Ultimate, one of the best in Smash 4. He's fallen off, but getting a Leo win is still really good. He's still consistently top 20, if not a little bit higher. So that's solid. Louis Money, Consistent player. Attends a lot. Does really well. Has a ton of wins against people in the Northwest. I might have misspoke, but Northwest, like NorCal and stuff like that. Um, Technically has a Sonics win, but like Sonics like kind of like DQ'd either during the set or like right before the set. So I don't really know what to make of that. Like if you DQ, you like I remember someone at local was like, "Oh, I'm gonna DQ to help keep my record be better." Because like instead of having a loss, I'm just gonna DQ. It's like, well, that's not great. You shouldn't be DQing to like help your record. So even though Louis Money like it's not clear he would have beaten Sonics. It's kind of a weird thing, and so it's like, I don't know. But has multiple Shattuck wins, MKLeo Mudace, a ton of Big Boss wins, like was farming Big Boss. Atada, Danny, Jaja, Yalmanak, Jazo, or Yamanaction? I think Yalmanak is a different player. Chag, Vendetta, all that kind of stuff. Icon, Kept, Endothea. A lot of good wins. Beast Mode Paul. I think people expected Beast Mode Paul to be in a, or maybe not for mine, but like consider him that he won MomoCon, that this half of like this quarter is better than last quarter, and I can see the argument because winning an event is very good, but the path he got, he benefited off of someone else getting upsets, which he can't control. But I think that the wins themselves, like last quarter, he got Tweak, Raru, Lima. That's incredible. The wins this time around, not quite as good. Lima again. Meister is good, but then kind of drops down. You get Omega twice, Epic Gabe twice, DD, Ploopy, Goblin, Odyssey twice, and a couple bad losses, but generally pretty consistent. So I have top of this tier, did very well, consistency, but I don't know if you can hear the fireworks in the background, but it's 4th of July. Did really well, but I don't think enough to quite go to the next tier. A lot of players that are really close. You can argue things up and down. It's tough, but in general, I have these to be kind of like outside of like top 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess outside of top 16. Here's the next tier. Hard to figure out exactly. This bottom person, especially Danny, um, it I think you can make a lot of decisions about Danny, where he should go, but looking at this list of wins is very good. Tweak, Ken, Crepe Soleil, Wrath, Susu, Candle, Matara, Vendetta, Atada, Lunamato, Wild Skeleton, Phantom, Sunito, Doorstop, MVD, Van East, and Ave. That's the full list of everything I gathered, and that's really good. Ken, people kind of sleep on Ken. I think that the new wave of, you got Akola and Mia, Akla, whatever you want to say. Yeah, you might have your Raru and Snow and Yoshidora and Hurt and all those, but a Ken win is very good. Crepe Soleil win very good. Wrath, Susu, Candle, and really consistent. I could see it argued to be down a tier for Danny, but I think that there's enough and there's a lot of consistency despite attending so much. So I can consider Danny A tier. Apollo Kage, one of my favorite players, ever since seeing him at SmashCon Fall Fest. Really cool player to see, really consistent. Not every single little thing, but it's still doing very well. Win on Spargo, win on Onin, Cola, Akakikusu, Big Boss, Matsunabe, Peanut, Gachipi, Mr. E, Omega, Yonpi, etc., etc. A lot of really good wins. A Spargo win and an Anon win. And a Cola, Akagikusu, Big Boss, Matsunabe, even Peanut as well. Those are very, very good wins. Does have a couple losses, but generally very consistent. Attends a lot of stuff and does well. Now DeBuzz, cool to see DeBuzz back up here. I think got a tweak win last time too. DeBuzz kinda farm and tweak a little bit. Let me double check here. Yeah, I think had a slightly stronger season last time, but still good enough to be A tier in my opinion. Tweak, Tarek, Candle, Karage, Jackal twice, Apollo Kage, WebJP, Free K-Flock, Vendetta, Rivers, Pharaoh, etc. Very good. Good stuff. Mars, I did not know where to put, because Mia and Anon, Louis Money, and then the next best one is J Mafia, which J Mafia is good, but like, it is difficult to put that because Mia is a hard player to upset. Like Mia did not get upset very much, and like that's very good. And then Anon having a really good season, which we'll go into a little bit later, but like that's it. And didn't really have any bad losses. Worst loss was Chase, which is not a bad loss necessarily. And then Light, Shiny Mark, and Wrath, which are, I have Wrath in this tier. So I wouldn't consider his losses to be bad. So I don't know. I think if you have lack of data, you could argue Mars moving down, but like a Mia win and Ana win are both really, really good. And the Louis Money win is solid too. So I have Mars up here. In terms of the quality of wins that Mars got, it should be at this level, if not higher, but I could see him argue down some. I just mentioned Wrath. Had a really good run at Kagaribi. People might consider that to be a little bit Mickey Mouse, got some good RNG, stuff like that, but hey, beat who was in his path. Got some good wins along the way. Asamo, Mude, Mars, Riddles, Big Boss, Taikei, Yamanaction, Kabaden Sito. That's very good. I could see that maybe there's some inflation with the placement at Kagaribi. But still really good. I think Wrath, best American Sonic by far, and doing good. Peanuts. Love some Peanut, man. Got the win at Patchwork. So cool to see. Light, Syrup, MKLeo, Shiny Mark, 3 Ikakikusu wins. Beast Mode Paul, Mutace twice, Wrath, Neo, Mr. E, Taikei, Jazo, and like a ton more. Really good. Not had a couple losses that weren't fantastic. Have a couple losses here and there that could have gone the other way, but still really good. One of the largest events. I think second largest. I'll have to double check Loomerang, but like in terms of American events, there hasn't been that many like as big as Patchwork, so that's a really big deal. Yeah, Zama did DQ, so it wasn't as big an event as it could have been, but good stuff to Pete. Not really happy to the Carolinian player doing so well, and also like Mega Man. It's like he makes Mega Man seem so like intelligent, and people are like, oh, you just be pressing buttons, firing stuff, but you just feel like you're getting smarter when you watch Peanut, and that's cool. Cola, classic player. People love Cola so much, and did pretty good. Got Tweak win, Snow, Lima, Beast Mode Paul, Shattuck, Karama, Mr. E, Myron, Ploopy, Has a couple weird losses, like had some strange losses in Japan. Um, didn't do amazing in some places, but I mean, Tweak and Snow is still very good and got a long list of wins alongside that. I think that Cola is solidly in this echelon of players. So, so yeah. Next we have Lima, no stranger to being up here. A little low, but only got like one like really good win in beating Light. Outside of that, took a lot of L's and got some good wins. You know, Cola, Shattuck, Piedmont, Roflo, Louis Money, Atata, Yamanaction, Anarchy, Reno, Mr. E, Atomic. But like, those aren't like Lima is capable of a lot more. So don't quite have Lima where Lima could be. Could be even argued down a little bit, but just have solidly like top 10 America for this quarter, in my opinion. Even though has some shortcomings, still did pretty well overall. Next, we have Jackal, who gets the fortune of being in the region, the part of America with the best players. Gets a lot of opportunities. Got a Tweak win, a Zomba, three Zomba wins, three Syrup wins. Now those are locals, so you can, it's like but I think I don't know about locals counting, but like I think we should be willing to count more things, even if they don't have like the tiering next to them. Like if they're playing, like they're putting themselves out there. And I don't want it to be a meta situation where people are not like I guess disincentivized. I'm not quite sure how to say that. They are incentivized not to go because it only can hurt them. I think having like I mean Zomba, you did have Tweak, Syrup, Jackal, sometimes Light. Like having so many of those higher up players, um, it's better for the whole of them instead of just having one like really high ranked player and then everyone else below. It's better for everyone overall. But outside of those wins, got Matsunabe, Louis Money, Cola, Candle, Yuzu, Beastly, PK Chris. That's pretty solid. I think that the amount of wins, especially at smaller events, I don't want to overvalue too much, but still had a really good season. Jackal is really coming into being a consistent threat and not just being the little brother of Tri-State with all the big ones, like not just the one breakout at what was it, Crown, or whatever that event was where Jackal was doing very well and then started not placing that well. Uh, I think that yeah, I got a bunch of losses, but when you put yourself out there, you're gonna have losses, and I think Jackal did good enough to be up here. Omega, mentioned earlier that Beast McPaul beat Omega, or beat someone, that person was Omega, at MomoCon. And I think Omega really benefited from having two light wins and also a Mia win. I mentioned that Mia does not get upset very often. A very consistent player. Omega got that win. Also, Wrath, Mudace, Riddles, Beastly, Jazzo, Pharaoh. I mean, that's really good. Really, really solid. And I think it was like number 110 or something. Uh, but really, really consistent. I mean, I think that like top 50 Omega is here to stay, if not higher. Like Omega's doing really good, and I'm excited to see. I think that people got tired of the MK Leo Joker, and not to say that Omega is like a cooler Joker by any means, but like seeing a dominant Joker, you start to get tired of the same stuff. But like seeing a Joker like just in the trenches, fighting for it, getting knocked down, getting back up. It's cool to see, and I think that Omega has a ton of potential, and it's going to be exciting to see. I think Georgia has a lot of solid players that are all kind of like I wouldn't say Cole is necessarily getting better, but a lot of people are kind of rising up And so like Georgia and Florida and like don't sleep in the southeast. I talk about the northeast a lot, but the southeast is getting very good as well. Mutace, the final one in this tier, has some not great losses, but I mean, never sleep on Mute. Second place at Genesis a little bit ago. You know, you don't sleep on Mute. Uh, Raru win, Light win, Zomba win, Leo win, 2 Lima wins, 2 Meister wins, Shiny Mark, Neo, Matsunabe, etc., etc. Very solid player. Did lose to Peanuts twice. I think that was definitely Mutace's tournament to win, but still got second at it. Didn't get upset by anyone else, outside of this tier at that event. I think not quite enough. Like, the difference between A and S tier is kind of tough to explain. Like, I was counting, like, okay, the level of wins that you get, it's not just about that, because it's like context behind those wins and consistency. You're not just trying to get the good win. You have to back it up with consistency and also getting some solid wins as well. So I think Mutace is solidly near the top of this tier. I think top probably top 7, top 10 in America very consistently. Um, but I don't think quite is good enough for top 5, at least for this quarter. And now we have our top 5. It was a 4, but now we have a new addition, a familiar face, the SmashCon champ a few years ago. But the same 4 we had, and then one newcomer, at least from what my rankings are. Now, I had Syrup really high. I said Syrup is arguably the best in America last quarter. Not quite as good this time. Has some solid wins. Oops, I'll come back to that later. Has some wins against Light and Zomba, which is good. Cola, DeBuzz, Lima, Mutace, AK, Chase, some Japanese wins. That's good. But has a big losing record to Zomba. I think they're technically 4-7 at locals and stuff like that. Has a Peanut loss. Has some losses to Jackal and Smurf Poster and Remu, and like not as good as what we've seen from Syrup, but still enough to be in this tier, no question. I think the Syrup has been really, really good. Did attend a Steve Band event, so that's why I kept the Ness here. Usually goes Steve from what I can tell, but still a really good Ness. And yeah, solid player. I think that definitely fell down some from last quarter, but still very good. Light. I talked about Light a bunch. Did get upset some, and I think that he's been pretty consistent with MomoCon and stuff like that. So him losing to Omega twice was a big deal. But don't let that outshine the rest of his results. Spargo win, Raru win, 2 Syrup wins, 2 Lima wins, On and Peanut, Mutace, Meister, Kameme, Wrath, and keeps going. Like, yeah, I had some inconsistencies. A lot of top 8s that probably should have been higher in top 8, like 4th level of Expo, but a bunch of 3rds at some smaller events that probably could have done better at. That's okay. I think that Light is a player that is naturally, not just with playing Fox, but being like aggro and like fast paced. There's going to be some inconsistency just naturally. And so I don't think it's quite enough to be top 3, but is very close. There's a lot of arguments between 3 and 4, and also 1 and 2. But this 3rd player, Anin, again, a familiar face, but kind of not as good, and but did very solidly. Mia, Sonics, Gluto, Tweak, Zomba, Light, and then multiple Shiny Mark, multiple Impaleo, Cola, Peanut, Wrath, Shattuck, AK, Yara, Siski, Jazo, 33 Box, Kurama, Ploopy, Hyper Kirby, Kuroponzu, Atata, Link, Kurofune, Kirash, Anthony Isn't Cool, That's a ton of wins. I mean, that, like, you can just go over those first six, seven, eight, like nine names, and that is just an incredible roster, and not that many bad losses. Like, yeah, just have that loss to Mars, AK, and Reno, um, but very, very solid. Good placings overall. Did benefit from some. I believe the Aquila upset helped on a lot at Level Up Expo, but that's out of your control. If someone else upsets and then you beat the person that gets an upset, you know, okay, that's fine. That was all you could do in your control. And a lot of incredible wins. I think it's debatable to be higher, but I don't know. It's tough. Um, I think that like how much you value some events could make on and above Zomba, uh, but overall, I'd say Onin is solidly third here. Uh, Definitely a boost from the first quarter. This first quarter Onin tweaked shoe tone, but had some inconsistency outside of that. And that was pretty much it. Like Wrath, Gact, Tilde, like not that good. So very solid stuff in this second quarter of the year. Then you have top two. Zomba was very consistent. Did have a couple weird losses to like Pharaoh and Yeast, but overall was like farming in a lot of places. I mean, a Sonics win, Light, a bunch of syrup wins, Shattuck, Yara, Mr. E, Pharaoh, Tarek, Danny, K Flock, Atomic. Uh, I could see you arguing that this is not as strong as what Zomba had earlier. Maybe like those wins. I think they're very good. Uh, Zomba Syrup have a very good rivalry, and Zomba got the better Syrup this time around, and was farming Jackal for the most part. Lost a couple, but still did good. It's weird. I think that like you didn't have those Genesis type results from Zomba this time around. Still did good, but like we know Zomba's up there, and I still think that these wins are very reputable and got a lot of good wins. But I think that just comes short of the Slim Reaper himself, retired legend Tweak. I want to be careful not to be biased because I think that there's like this, oh, on your way out you want to like finish on top and stuff like that, and if it's not earned it shouldn't be given. But these wins were incredible. I mean, Doramiki was super good. Doramiki was really consistent, and Tweak beat him twice. Spargo win, boom, don't see that every day. Two Shootone wins. Snow, Ken, Big Boss, Furrow, Rarcure, Tilda, PK Chris. That's very good. I think like doesn't have the Noi as well. I think that was the one. I forget who beat Spargo that one SmashCon, but still got some good wins. Yeah, I think that first like Spargo, Shuton twice, Dormingi twice, Snow, Ken, Big Boss. Because Big Boss, you can't sleep in Big Boss. That's a really good set of wins. I think people are gonna look at Level of Expo and be like, you lost that. Like, yeah, Capetencito, solid player. But like, yeah, you shouldn't be losing to that. But I mean, you get a Spargo win, and then you get like 7 other top tier wins alongside that. That's going to be incredible. And then 2 Doramigi wins is so good. Yeah, I think people consider Akola Amiya still to be above Doramigi, but those are still very valuable. To get 2 is very good. 2 Shuton. I mean, those are very good wins. I think it's like I had to fight the urge. I'm like, am I just giving Tweak number 1 because he's on his way out and I want to like honor him? And and be appreciative to what he's given to the game and stuff like that. It's like, okay, I'm getting like gosh, like really going with the glaze, aren't we? But I don't know. I think that Tweak is number one for this quarter. And that brings me, I accidentally leaked it a little bit earlier, but that brings me to the top 50 that I made. And I think Tweak might be number one. It's super tough. I think that the top five, like Onen's first half, brings on and down. Light, not as consistent. The top three is super tough. Like Tweak did get upset a couple times, a few times here and there. And like it was like Syrup Zomba Tweak, Tweak Zomba Syrup, but Syrup was farther down. I feel like Zomba didn't have. He had a better first quarter than second quarter, and I think Tweak had a really strong, um, really strong second quarter and very good first quarter as well. I think that Tweak might be number one for this first half of the year. It's really close. Like there's no clear. Like sometimes you have like, okay, this person's just far away. Like you have the Leo or like the runaway Zane years from Melee. You don't really have that right now, at least for America. Like, I mean, even like looking at Japan and Europe and America and Latin America, and it's hard. But like, I think that Tweak slightly edges it out. I feel confident about the five for, like Onin overcame the lack of the the best first quarter, um, to be up there. I think that Lima is number six. That feels high, but in terms of consistency and putting those two together, I mean, got a ton of good wins. Like Lima's first quarter was solid. Uh, Light, Umeki, Siski, a ton of Peanut wins, ton of Anarchy, Louis Money, Omega, Danny. Like that's good. Um, I could see Lima argued being lower, but it's hard to fully contextualize. Mutace, Cola, DeBuzz, Beast Mode, Paul, I think solidly up there. Omega, Peanut, two Southeast guys, making those upsets. Monty feels weird, but remember Monty had a really good quarter one. Let me like double check those wins. It was what? Yeah, a hurt win like Big Boss, like Big D, Andric. Those are really solid wins. Um, Went lower, but still good. Jackal, again, you don't want to overvalue the ton of exposure from locals, but still earned some wins. Was really inconsistent just because of how much he attended, but still good. Wrath, I think, is kind of weird where to put. Like, okay, you see, okay, he's definitely up there. Had the Kagaribi thing, very good. Also, I didn't mention earlier, Tweak had the highest American placing at Kagaribi, which is super valuable in my opinion. Didn't quite get into that top three, but still did super good, and I think that's like huge, like gotta commend him for that. And then after Wrath, you get AK, Candle, Cosmos, Mars, uh, AK, Candle, Karama, Cosmos, Mars. A lot of weird things. You have like, okay, they got that, like, the one really good win, and then what kind of quiet outside of that for 18 through 20, while AK and Candle were a lot more consistent. Um, it's hard. It's very difficult here. I'm not quite sure. It's like something that looks wrong, but you don't want to be like, okay, just because the eye test doesn't ignore, like it's not supposed to be more important than data. But yeah, here's my list. It is, I'm not the most confident in it, but I feel like it's difficult. And there's some other players as well that you could include. Um, like some of the C tiers, for either one could go up. It's hard to know for sure, but I think America is doing very well. I think that clearly you have Japan having more consistent top 10 threats than any other country individually. But as a whole, I think it's becoming more of a plurality rather than a majority. Where you have Latin America, you have USA, you have Europe. They're taking up more spots. And that's cool to see. I think the worldwide rivalries, I mean, you have it sometimes in other fighting games as well, less with like Melee and Rivals, those are more America centric. But you're having a traditionally American esport in terms of like notoriety, and you're having Japan being known and having uh, a ton of credit for how good they are, but they're not just wiping the floor. I mean, I mentioned a ton of upsets. Hurt didn't really get upset, which he did have the break. But I mean, I mentioned a bunch of Akala upsets. I mentioned Doramigi. I mentioned Mia. Like these Shutone and Ken, like these players that like seem to be just so consistent. They're losing, and it's not even just to like the only to like that S tier of players. Like they're losing to people that are like, dang, they were like a 16th seed here. Like that's crazy. Like it's cool to see. I think that America Smash, it's unclear with the Switch 2, but I feel really confident that it's gonna stick. End of Smash 4 was kind of a weird time. You had a lot of people kind of pulling back, but Ultimate is just a really cool game. There's so much depth, and there's so much skill in being able to know matchups and adjusting. And even if it's not always the most technical in terms of like being super precise, and there's a lot of stuff you have to figure out, it's cool to see. And I think it's a really engaging game, and I'm very excited to see how it keeps advancing. You have so many representation for all these different characters. Like yeah, not all of them are gonna be in a top 8 or top 32, but like you got a lot of people being dedicated to these characters. And like yeah, you have some dual mains, you have some people that switch, but generally like you have a lot of people representing, and you have like these regionals in America, and it's really cool to see. Like in BVA, we have a lot of people that are like, okay, maybe they're not gonna, get that huge upset like all the time, but you can't sleep on them. Like unranked MBVA has a crazy amount of upsets. Like, it's surprising the depth of America. I think that like in terms of like the top echelon, maybe there's not the most representation, but there's a lot of players that are solid that are like, okay, don't sleep on them because you can drop a game before you know it. Like there's a lot of solid players, and it's cool to see. And this one a little long. Uh, it's a lot. Even just America, ignoring any other place, only for 3 months. It's a ton of data. And again, I'm not super confident on this, but I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a decent list. And let me know if you have any disagreements or you want to talk about stuff. Please subscribe. Uh, Full transparency, I'm trying to reach monetization. Uh, is fun, but I'm also trying to help provide a little bit. And so reaching a certain subscriber milestone will help me a ton. So please, even if you don't think it's important to me. So I appreciate everyone that watches, the comments, all that kind of stuff. I got some cool stuff planned in the future, so stay tuned for all that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day.